To IB or not to IB? That is the question. Just kidding. In this video, I'll be discussing, is IB worth it? Last month, I graduated from Cornell University with a degree in hotel administration. In 2018, I graduated from the IB diploma program. In about a month, I will be beginning a PhD program in consumer behavior. That desire to go into research was largely influenced by IB. Now that I have some distance from the IB program, I feel like I can talk about, was it worth it in terms of my college experience? In IB, I took HL Spanish, History, and English, and SL Physics, Psychology, and Math. I scored overall 40 points, earning 6s in all of my subjects with a 7 in English, and 3 points from TOK and my extended essay. I want to start off by saying what you get out of IB really depends on how dedicated you are to it and the extent to which the philosophy around IB really resonates with you. So for me, I was very dedicated in that I really tried with all of my assignments and all of my internal and external assessments, and the philosophy around International Baccalaureate, that of being a thinker and a lifelong learner and intellectually curious, really resonated with me. TOK was something I really genuinely found fascinating and loved applying in different subjects, and I think fundamentally changed how I think about things academically. When I was preparing for this video, I thought of, well, what do we mean when we say worth it? This kind of thinking has been really ingrained in me, and I think that's really unique about the IB program. But if you're not super dedicated to the program, you're just doing what you need to do to get by, which is fine, good for you, or if you're not really buying into the philosophy of being a knowledge seeker and understanding what is truth and what is knowledge, I think the IB program gives you the equivalent experience and skills as AP. But if you really buy into the style of thinking and asking questions that IB prompts you to do, I think you get a lot more out of it. IB at its very baseline is a very difficult curriculum, and you will learn a lot and it will prepare you for college. At the higher level, if you're really buying into the philosophy, it can transform the way you think about academics and the way you think about your future. And I think that's really significant and really moving if that's what you want it to do. For me, discovering that kind of passion of I can be a lifelong learner, I can ask these more complex and deep questions, set me on a path towards becoming a career researcher. And I'm glad that it did. What you get out of IB and whether it's worth it or not really depends on the person. If you love learning for learning's sake, if you want to be able to argue more interesting and complex ideas, it's a fantastic program. In terms of college credit, it really depends if IB is worth it. I personally, at Cornell University, only got 3 credits towards my degree from IB, and to get those 3 credits, I had to get a 7 in an HL. So I only got credit for getting a 7 in HL English, which less than 2% of test takers get. I'm really proud of that score. I'm glad I got credit, but I think that's insane. I took AP classes, and for the most part, they were easier than my SLs. So should I have gotten credit for my SLs? Yes, if my classmates were getting credit for their APs that were similar or easier. But at other universities, you can get the same amount of credit if you do IB or if you do AP. So it really depends on the situation. If it's something you're concerned about, getting college credit, look into what colleges you might be considering and see what their policies are. Cornell was pretty out front with saying we only accept HLs. So right away you're limited at getting credit for at most 4 classes. Versus my friends at University of Nebraska were able to take full semesters off of their degrees because they got so much credit from IB. In terms of preparation for college, I think IB is hands down worth it. It teaches you to think and ask questions in ways that will put you above and beyond your peers in college that didn't do the International Baccalaureate Program. Through your IAs and through your EE, you're asked to construct and research and synthesize really complex arguments that a lot of your classmates in college are only beginning to understand how to do. Doing the EE is essentially like doing a big term paper or a mini senior thesis. So by the time you get to college, you say, okay, this is like the extended essay. I know how to go about this. While some of your classmates might be thinking, I have never done something like this before. I also think my SL classes were amazing in preparing me for college. I did not take any college level math while I was at Cornell University, but I took multiple graduate level statistics courses, and SL Math prepared me exceptionally well. I was keeping up with, or at times doing better than, my graduate school peers just because of the concepts that I had learned in SL Math. I had learned matrix algebra and linear algebra, not so much that I could do matrix functions, but so that I could keep up with what was happening in these graduate level statistics classes. I didn't get any credit for SL Math, but it very clearly was sufficient in terms of college level math. The caveat to IB being such a great way to prepare you for college level thinking and writing and reading is that it can over prepare you. So for me, doing a business degree, I didn't need to be doing that kind of high level questioning the nature of knowledge thinking that TOK and IB really wants you to do. For a lot of my assignments, I didn't feel intellectually challenged in a way that my IA or my EE had done. And that was really frustrating for me because I loved that style of thinking that IB asks you to do. And then to not be doing it in college felt like, well, why did I do IB? But that's not to say that that training goes to waste. Obviously, it's incredibly useful to be able to think at a higher level, even when you're not being asked to do it by your courses. There's always opportunities to go above and beyond, and IB really trains you to take a very critical lens at whatever you're studying, whether it's hospitality operations or something very esoteric and complex in humanities classes. I definitely think IB prepares you better for less applied subjects because that style of thinking is so esoteric and epistemological. Applying that kind of thinking to business is not super useful. While I didn't use every critical thinking skill that I had built in IB in my coursework in the hotel school at Cornell University, I definitely was positively influenced by that training. And I was able to apply that to more advanced coursework. In a lot of ways, I felt like the IB program prepared me better for graduate level classes I took at Cornell than the undergrad level. And I think that's specifically because I was studying business. Overall, I would say IB is incredibly worth it if what you want out of the program is to become a really critical thinker, someone that's able to make well-researched, well-reasoned arguments, and able to apply any knowledge that you gain towards creating new or more unique arguments. But if what you want out of the program is, I want to get into good colleges, I want great college credit, it might not be worth it. IB is a lot of work, but I think what gets missed in a lot of my YouTube comments that are saying, I'm so afraid to stay up all night working on homework, is that you're doing a lot less busy work in IB compared to AP, but the work that you are doing in IB is a lot more draining because you're learning how to think critically, you're learning how to create sound and complex arguments. And when you get to college, you've done that hard work, and now your courses are a lot easier, even if you don't use all of those really foundational critical thinking skills all the time. When I was in the IB program, there were times that I was regretting it. Absolutely. Especially writing my extended essay, I was thinking, what am I doing? Is it even worth it? Looking back, it was one of the best decisions I could have ever made. I, in retrospect, love IB. I'm so glad I did it. I think it has formed me into the person I am today, who is intellectually curious and seeking out new knowledge and striving to create new ideas or discover new inquiries. And I think that I wouldn't have those kind of qualities if I hadn't done IB. I hope this video was useful or gave you some new insight into IB. I'd love to answer any questions that you may have, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!